The shir that I'm about to give should be Le'iloi Nishmas Sar Rivka Bas Harav Nachum Mendel, Sarah Dratch. May the learning that we do tonight, as well as all the preparation that went into this year, be a zechus for her neshama to have an aliyah. The Perek that I'm speaking about tonight is Perek Memvav. It's a relatively short Perek, and I will go through an English translation of the Psukim quickly with you now, so that you have an overview of what's being spoken about in the Perek. Starting with Pasuk Aleph. For the conductor by the sons of Korach on the Alamos of song, we'll translate the word Alamos later. Hashem is for us a refuge and strength, a help in distress, very accessible. Therefore, we shall not be afraid when the earth is transformed and the mountains collapse in the heart of the seas. When the waters are raging and muddied, and the mountains quake in Hashem's majesty Selah. A river's streams will gladden the city of Hashem, the most sacred of the Mishkanei Elyon, dwelling places on high. Hashem is in its midst. It shall not totter. Hashem will help it toward morning. Nations are in turmoil. Kingdoms totter. Hashem has raised his voice. The earth does not dissolve. Hashem, master of legions, is with us. A stronghold for us is the God of Yaakov. Go and see the works of Hashem, who has wrought devastation in the land. He causes wars to cease to the end of the earth. He will break the bow and cut the spear. He will burn chariots in the fire. Stop and know that I am Hashem. I shall be exalted among the nations. I shall be exalted upon the earth. Hashem, master of legions, is with us. A stronghold for us is the God of Yaakov, Selah. Just from going through a translation of the Psukim, we are able to notice a couple of important points about the Perek. First of all, from a historical perspective, it's interesting to note that this Perek was recited by the sons of Korach right before they were saved from being swallowed by the earth. We make reference to the author in the first pasuk when it mentions Lamnatseach Levnei Korach. Another important thing to notice is the actual content of the Perek. The Psukim describe scenes of destructions and natural disasters. The Mishor is describing a time when the earth is in turmoil, both from natural disasters as well as through the overturning of nations. Yet the overall message of the Perek seems to be that even though there is turmoil, we should have nothing to fear because Hashem is in control and He is the one causing the turmoil. This theme of having bitachon in Hashem because He is the one who is in control is a major theme in this Perek, and Rav Meir Weiss in his Sefer Meir La'aretz develops this theme further and attaches a Musar lesson to it. The majority of this shir is based on this Sefer, and I am providing the source here so that we can go through it inside together. The Meir La'aretz starts out by stating that according to Rashi, Radak, Sforno, and the Avin Yechi, the turmoil that this Perek is referring to are the events that will take place in the time right before the coming of Mashiach, during the time of Kibbutz Galios and Melchames Gog uMagog. The first 8 psukim describe the destruction that will take place, but remind us that Hashem is our Ezra, our help, in times of trouble, and He will save us whenever we call out to Him. I would like to just note that calling out to Hashem already implies a level of bitachon. We would only call out to Hashem if we believed He could help us. I believe that the Meir La'aretz gets this idea that we need to call out to Hashem from the description in Pasuk Bet that Hashem is accessible, Nimsa Me'od. He's giving us the message that yes, Hashem is accessible, but we need to seek Him. And when we do, we'll see that He's at the ready to save us. The Meir La'aretz continues, therefore, we should not fear when the land is turned over from tranquility to chaos. Such as the Psukim describe, earth being transformed, mountains falling to the sea, kingdoms being turned over, etc. Some Mefarshim explain that all this should be taken literally, and these Psukim are describing actual natural disasters that will take place upon the earth. Other Mefarshim believe that these Psukim should be understood as a mashal to Melchames Gog uMagog. Either way, the message should be the same, that during these times of distress, we should not fear, because Hashem is in control. This is why the next pasuk states, Lechu chazu mefalos Hashem, asher sam shamos ba'aretz. Right? Come, look, see the wonders of Hashem that He has placed destruction in the land. The Radak translates this pasuk to mean, look and see the nisim, they are works of Hashem who has placed destruction in the land. The destruction referred to here is a destruction and desolation amongst the Goyim who have been fighting against Yerushalayim. We have seen this in the past, the present, and we'll see it in the future as well. We should look and realize that yes, there's a lot of fighting and destruction taking place, but if we keep in mind that it's all coming from Hashem, then we have nothing to fear, and rather than see it as destruction, we'll see it as a miracle. Little Eretz Israel keeps coming out victorious despite the odds and the size and number of the nations attacking it. This should then remind us, says the Sefer Sha'arei Chaim, that power is not in the hands of the Goyim, but rather Hashem is the one who raises and lowers. He gives power and takes it away. He is in charge. In this Perek, the Mashor is speaking about obvious open miracles where Hashem changes nature and everyone should be able to see these miracles. This is why he says, L'chu chazu mifalos Hashem. Because these miracles are obvious miracles. All we need to do is look around and see that Hashem is the one in control. It's obvious. He's defying nature. However, we will see shortly that it's not always so obvious to everyone. The Meir La'aretz continues to say that in the Midrash Tehillim it mentions that the Alamos Shir, mentioned in the first pasuk, are referring to two olamim, two worlds. One is the olam of tzaddikim, and one is the olam of Rishayim. The Meir La'aretz is about to teach us an important Musar lesson we can learn from this Perek. The way of the Rishayim, he says, is to rely on their material wealth to save them. Bnei Korach witnessed at the time that they were saved that in fact there are two worlds, one of Rishayim and one of tzaddikim. Bnei Korach saw that the common characteristic of Korach and his followers, who obviously went the way of Rishayim, was that they trusted in their own power and wealth. Korach's sons took note that the power and wealth of Korach and his Ada did not stand for them when they were being swallowed by the earth, and only they, Korach's sons who did tshuva, were saved. It's about this that they recited the line, Al kain lo nira ba'amir la'aretz, as if to say that in the future, when there is chaos and tumult, and the earth is being transformed, the tzaddikim should not fear, because just as Bnei Korach were zocha to view an open miracle and be saved, so too the tzaddikim will be zocha to see the wonders and miracles of Hashem during this crazy time and be saved. The Shari Chaim additionally comments that the intention of the Mashor and the pasuk of L'chu chazu, pasuk tet, is that man must imprint on his heart the idea that wealth and power are from Hashem, and one should not mess up and think kochi v'yotzef yadi asali achayel, that it's my own power that accomplishes. When we say the words L'chu chazu, the kavanah should be that we renew the feeling in our heart that everything is from Hashem. We shouldn't just physically see the miracles with our eyes, but the word chazu implies that we should feel and have a deeper understanding of them, realize that they are deliberate and from Hashem, and understand what that entails. It's an active form of seeing. If we take a look in Rav Hirsch, we see that he comments on this as well. Rav Hirsch states that the word chazu, as opposed to re'u, implies a level of understanding. It's a perception involving thought and pondering. If we look inside, we see he uses the language of perceiving with the heart. He also discusses in his commentary that it implies recognizing that there is a purpose to the destruction that we are witnessing. We need to understand that it is all from Hashem and He has a plan. If we turn back to the Meir La'aretz, we see that he continues on this theme and explains that a person who trusts in his wealth is not able to see the emes, the truth, just like Korach and his followers were not able to see the truth. It's due to this that they did not do tshuva even at the last possible moment when the earth was opened up beneath them. The sons of Korach woke up to this reality at the last moment, and they were chozer b'tshuva, and as a result were saved from the fate of their father. Korach and his followers were not aroused even when Hashem changed nature and performed open miracles. Their minds and their hearts were only tuned into gold and silver. They did not recognize the wonders before their eyes. Their wealth and power made them truly blind. Bnei Korach wrote this mizmor for a time in the future when Hashem will show His strength in the world, and He will be revealed through open miracles. The only people who will recognize these miracles are the ones who recognize that the wealth and power are from Hashem as well, not only the destruction. They will not trust in their wealth and possessions and think that they themselves are powerful. Rather, they will understand that these huge events taking place are miracles from Hashem. Even open miracles need to be understood. One who is sleeping or blind is not able to recognize them. Rav Elchanan Wasserman once wrote that the reason why in Shema it says Lo tatiru acharei levavchem, don't stray after your hearts, and not acharei rashechem, after your minds, is because if the heart is closed, the head is not able to see or understand the truth that is before him. If this is the case, we see that in order to be zocha to see the nisim and the flawless in the future, one must arouse himself. This is why Bnei Korach said, L'chu chazu, come and see, because one needs to actively try to understand something new, not just passively see it with one's eyes. I believe that this is the way of the tzaddikim that the Meir La'aretz was referring to. This is what one needs to do to be part of the Olam HaTzaddikim and be protected by Hashem. To be zocha to be saved, as we talked about before, one must open his heart to recognize the events around him as miracles. This will help build his bitachon in Hashem, as well as be a testimony to his already existing bitachon and merit him to be saved. Sefer Tehillim was written so that while each perek may have some special significance to a specific period in time, it is also timeless, and we can see the application no matter what time we are living in. We can always find some way to apply each perek to our lives. This perek was written by the sons of Korach and was very applicable for the time that they wrote it. They just witnessed Hashem defying nature and opening up the earth to swallow Korach and his followers. Korach's sons were saved last minute after doing tshuva, and so they recited this perek as an acknowledgement that Hashem is the one in control, and therefore, since they now fully trusted in Hashem, they had nothing to fear and were saved from the fate of Korach and his followers. So too, we can see an application of this perek in today's times as well. We often refer to the times we live in as the Ikvaseh de Mashiach, the time right before the coming of Mashiach. We read about the turmoil described in this perek in the news daily. We are experiencing both natural disasters as well as nations being overturned. We have recently watched as the United States economy crashed and witnessed Egypt's government be overturned, leaving terrible riots in its wake. Global warming has brought with it hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards, and tsunamis that we experience on what is becoming an all too frequent basis. Israel's existence is being threatened by a nuclear Iran, among other surrounding nations. As the Psukim describe, the earth is turning over from tranquility to chaos. There seems to be a lot to fear, yet this perek was not meant to instill fear in us. Rather, it was written as a source of chizuk and comfort. How can this be? The answer is simple. The message of this perek, as I mentioned previously, is to have bitachon in Hashem and nothing else. If we follow this message and open our eyes, we will recognize that all the chaos that is taking place around us is from Hashem. If we remember that Hashem is in control, then we have nothing to fear. What is going on around us is not chaos, but rather it's a carefully calculated plan by Hashem, who only wants what is best for us. If He is the one we turn to during this distress, and He is also the one causing the distress, then of course we shouldn't be afraid, because if He is bringing the destruction, then He can also protect us from it. Our job is to actively recognize this and see the events around us for what they are, acts of God. In doing so, we must also make sure it is Hashem who we call out to and rely on to save us, and not our own material possessions or power. It is through this that we will be zochat to be protected during these turbulent times. When we learn to do this, the chaos and destruction will not seem scary, but rather they will be comforting, because they will remind us that man is not in control, but rather Hashem is running the world, and we can put our trust in Him.